the Millennial Gaze.
Hey y'all, I'm giving May the night off tonight because she has been working so hard, and I've been busy with rent, but I thought give her the night off and I will come on and just kind of chat with y'all about what a week, and not just like a week, the last hey Jazzy, the last I don't know, man, the last 48 hours have been kind of insane. So, I mean, I'm just ready to jump right into it. Let's chat. First up, we got the unfearless leader. And let's just watch just a little bit of this.
Congratulations, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Overnight, President Trump lavishing praise on New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani after months of trading attacks and insults.
I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am.
Just weeks ago, Trump had warned the 34-year-old Democratic socialist would destroy the city. But now the two men smiling, joking, and shaking hands in the Oval Office.
I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually.
Mamdani says they focused on the issue that fueled his victory and even drew some Trump voters, the cost of living.
Yes, he did.
8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America.
For months, Trump branded Mamdani as an extremist, but not anymore.
I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again.
Reporters pressing Mamdani on calling Trump a fascist, but in a stunning moment, the president jumping in to help.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay, sorry.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And the billionaire president asked if he'd be comfortable living in New York under Mamdani.
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
But guys, the big question is this: do these warm feelings last? Because remember, it was just weeks ago when the president was threatening to withhold federal funding and to send federal troops into New York City if Mamdani won the election. And that meeting yesterday focused more on issues of shared concern like affordability, not their deep differences around crime and immigration. But no question, that was a shocking scene, and Trump making it clear he not only respects, but even admires Mamdani's political success, Rachel.
Yeah, many people were very surprised to see how that played out. All right, Selena Wang in Washington for us. Selena.
So, my thing with this is, this just makes it even more clear that, like, he is only listening to either Fox News or what all those crazies in his cabinet tell him. I mean, look at, like, Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi. Tulsi Gabbard's been quiet for a while. So, I mean, yeah, like, it's crazy to me how once he gets like one-on-one meetings with these people, it's a little chilly in here. Once he gets one-on-ones with these people, he's like, wait, this guy's not a jihadist. This guy's not. So it brings me to the question, oh yeah, like they have control of him, like they're the puppet masters. And that's what scares me. Like, so many people throw around these arguments of like, oh, he's so smart. Oh, he's so cunning and conniving. It's like, so no. He's like a middle school boy that just wants his ego petted and wants... But Mamdani didn't do that. He went in prepared. He did not let his guard down at all, which I completely applaud him for, because he went in ready to talk about what mattered and would answer honestly and not play any of these like little games that these people that Trump works with just love to play. And so I hope that the Democratic Party takes some notes from Mamdani, because he's doing what everybody should be doing. He's not playing games. He's here to make, for now at least, like his city better, which it's one of the greatest cities literally in the world. So if that city is better because of people like Mamdani, then take notes and do it for the rest of the country. I saw this video and I lolled. I just want to share it, because who doesn't remember Siwa?
Just all got played for 8 months. Everyone in the world, everyone in the country, everyone in New York City got played by these two thespians, these actors. Because remember, 8 months ago, we thought it was Godzilla versus King Kong. There was Zoran Mamdani calling Donald Trump a fascist. He's not. And then Donald Trump calling Zoran Mamdani a communist. He's not. And then, as you mentioned, just recently, the president said, I'm going to withhold $7 billion of badly needed federal funding for New York City if you elect Zoran Mamdani. And then Zoran Mamdani, on the night of his victory, turns and looks into the television and says, Donald Trump, if you're listening, turn up the volume.
That was brilliant.
So they're like antagonizing their followers. And then all of a sudden today, we're expected to believe kumbaya. Everything is fine. Everything moves normally. No. I don't get played. I feel that I, like the American people, were turned into suckers to all of a sudden start adversarially wanting to go at one another, when in fact we can see the reaction today, which is, oh, you're going to be building. We just all got played.
I don't think anybody got played. I agree, Jazzy. He does definitely recognize when someone has strength. I don't know. I could see the respect part of it, because I think for Trump right now, it's partially respect and like him also just trying to grab onto power where he can, because he knows that the people he is surrounding himself with are not gravitating with power and success like Mamdani is. And I think that that's just, it's frustrating. This is all just like so frustrating. And I'm going to talk more about the Democrats and Trump later, but do you guys remember when politics wasn't just all fighting with each other? Like Sliwa is talking about like, oh, they're not up in arms at each other and fighting one another and stuff. And it's like, that's not what it always has to be about. That's not always what it was about. I still remember when Obama was running against, not Mitt Romney, John McCain. And John McCain was hosting like a town hall or something. And an elderly woman walked up and talked about how, I know it was about him being like a Muslim and not born in this country and all that, crap that they love to say. And immediately John McCain was like, we will have none of that here. I know Barack Obama. He is a good man. And it wasn't about red versus blue. It was about still keeping humanity. And we have not had that since then. I don't remember if it was McCain was his last opponent or Romney. Maybe it was Romney, but I still remember that with John McCain. And I was just like, wow, it hit. Because it's not, at the end of the day, it's not about parties. It's about humanity, guys. And there's so many people that have just lost that, especially the people in DC. And let me see what you're saying, Jazzy. Yep. People just want, I think that the thing is, yeah, he did. People want people in office that get things done. But unfortunately, Trump fooled 74 million people. And including people in like Congress and stuff with Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we will get to in a minute. But he fooled all these people into thinking that all of these things happen if he got back into office. But yet it's like people got that Men in Black thing in front of their faces that just makes you forget everything. Like, people forgot how terrible the country was when he took over, when he was president the first time. And one of the things that really, his handling of COVID, and I will still just never understand this. Over 1 million people in this country, I still stand by this, died because of the way he handled things. There could have been so many prevented deaths. And the way that he was, it just created now this like fake news and false narratives, and people don't care about facts anymore. And it's just so frustrating. And yes, Jazzy, I agree. We do live in different realities. And I would love to live in like a reality where I could just say what I want, like la la la. But I have this thing called a brain and logic. And I do this stuff called research, which if you do it properly, doesn't even take that long. Like, guys, come on. We got to wake up from this. This is just getting so out of hand. And I know that it's going to come to an end, but can it like come to an end now? Can we please just rebuild this country to make it better than whatever it was before, and stop all the games and stop all the bullshit? And I guess that's a good segue into my MTG video, because speaking of the bullshit, this is just some of it. It's not all of it, because the whole video is like 11 minutes long.
I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. I'll be resigning from office, my last day being January 5th, 2026. And I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
So here's my thing with a lot of this. I've seen a lot of different things get thrown around that sort of is like her come to Jesus moment was because she's not staying, so she could speak her mind freely. I've also seen that she's doing this because this could also have the House lose the GOP majority before midterms. I've seen that too. I've also seen what I think is pretty brilliant, and I'll let one of my favorite politicians tell you about it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned last night.
I'll be resigning from office.
But you probably didn't hear what AOC said about it. She's carefully timing her departure just 1 to 2 days after her pension kicks in and after making millions of dollars insider trading stocks for weapons manufacturers and others while in office. She is saying a lot, but her actions have not backed up her rhetoric. For all her talk, she's still voting with them to gut healthcare and advance self-dealing corruption schemes. Adios, MTG. We all know that murder.
I knew she had ulterior motives. I did. It's great that she's trying to speak out against the for the Epstein victims, but like it was always about her. Like she never has to work again after leaving Congress. Like I don't know if people understand that. She's going to literally like live off of the system richly for the rest of her days because she can now. And she basically gets to leave like scot-free. I'm sure she'll try to come back with like, I want to say she might try to run for Senate or in like a decade or so speak out about how, well, all this MAGA, I left, so I don't believe that. I've always thought that she was a bit of a snake and I've never really trusted her. So this just kind of brings my point because I'm one of those people at this point, especially with anybody in, DC and Washington. I am in actions speak louder than words, 1000%. And so her actions have not shown that she has changed at all. Don't trust. So, if you didn't know today and yesterday, there was, I don't know if it's going on tomorrow too, but there's been some big rallying happening in DC. Of course, Trump's not there to see it, but here's just a small taste.
Protesters had a message for Donald Trump in the White House. Check this shit out. So protesters had.
So I agree with May when she talks about like, and I know that they've been doing this with, I think it's called Flare. They've been doing this almost every day with Flare, but obviously it's not been this size. And I'm pretty sure they had more people there today than they did his first inauguration, which is hilarious because I saw photos from the Lincoln Memorial and like the Washington Monument today where it went pretty far down there. So like, we know people are pissed, but these people in Congress and the Senate just have to start growing pairs. And this is something that I'm talking about. So this story has kind of gotten lost in the news a bit. They did a vote on Friday condemning the horrors of socialism, like literally hours before Mamdani got to DC. And they stabbed their own voters in the back, basically saying that they're not radical like these other Dems. Meanwhile, America is literally suffering from capitalism itself. And just some examples. CCOT, which is still open, by the way, and people are still missing from that. Hundreds of thousands are dead because of him cutting USAID. ICE kidnapping people off the streets. Palantir, which is Peter Thiel, tracking phones, banks, and protests for ICE and the Pentagon. U.S. supplied bombs dropping on Gaza and innocent people. The Navy strikes off of Venezuela. Veterans dying, waiting for VA care that they won't get because they're like, eh. So there was 86 House Democrats that voted to condemn socialism. I've said this before. The happiest countries in the world are socialist countries and have socialism. So, like, these people are literally... Oh, me too, Jazzy. I don't trust them. These people are literally saying, we don't want people to be fed. We don't want people to have housing. We don't want people to have healthcare. Like, that's literally what they're saying. I don't understand why people think that free healthcare is such a horrible thing, or that maternity leave is such a horrible thing. Or better yet, they think it's horrible for the poor people. So, if anybody's watching this and you see your House Dem on this list, and I'll just name some of the few that really stuck out for me. Brandon Boyle of Pennsylvania. Come on, man. He's not my rep, but Jim Clyburn, you see him a lot. I believe he is the black gentleman who fights a lot with people in the hearings. Chris DeLuzio, he's another one where I'm like, dude, come on. Hakeem Jeffries. Bro. Hakeem Jeffries. It's because you get all your money from AIPAC, my guy. Like, Stephen Lynch, I remember him. I've seen him in hearing videos. Jared Moskowitz. He's the one, if you watch, he is Mr. Comedian and shit. But I'm finding out more and more that he's voting for stuff with the Republicans. And I'm going to go on a bit of a rant once I get through this. AIPAC Shakur. Yes. I love that. Was that Charlemagne that said that? I think that was funny. Richie Torres. He's a big one in New York. Thankfully, the people that I've seen on this, people I haven't seen on this list are Jamie Raskin. Obviously not AOC, obviously not Jasmine, obviously not Eric Swalwell. Those are the people in Congress that I trust. I did not know that, but I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised at all. Here's my question for you Democrats. In anything. Why are you voting with Republicans at all? You should not be voting for any of this. Don't even show up, especially for stuff in the Senate when it's mostly 2/3 majority rather than 50-50. This is insane. Stop voting with them. They are never going to change because they are following what Dear Leader, or at this point, what Dear Leader's minions want Dear Leader to do. Stop. It doesn't matter what it is. Stop voting with them. You are not the same. And at this point, these 86 people are more like are more like the Republicans than they are like those of us who want this country to be great. Stop it. I don't understand. You're supposed to represent us. All of them. And this is not just Democrats. You are supposed to represent us. Not your pockets and not your buddies. That's what's supposed to make this country work. I did not see that. There was a deal made by both parties to prevent censoring from happening to a Democrat and Republican. I did not like that. I have not seen it, but I'm sure we can look it up and talk about it at a later date. Oh. And again, some of these, there's so much shit happening in this country right now. I didn't know about this story that Jazzy mentioned. This is another story that is literally getting thrown under the bus. Nobody really knows about it. And this is one that really pisses me off.
These lists of degrees of education that you see on the side here are no longer going to be considered professional degrees. What does that mean? That means that right now, the Department of Education, other people, decided that if you want to go to school for these degrees, then you're going to have to, you can still get money, but it's not going to be as much money, okay, that you need to get this type of degree. You would have to pretty much come out of pocket, okay? But all of these degrees currently on this side is not going to no longer be considered professional degrees sometime next year. I think they said June or July, somewhere in the summertime. And so, yeah, you would have to figure out what you're going to do. So basically what that tells me is that you don't want any doctors, you don't want any nurses, teachers, because who has the money to afford to pay for that out of pocket? That's the whole point of them getting the loans to pay for those so that they can pay it back later. And then continue to make the world continue to go round as far as in doing those type. So these lists of degrees right here, these are the ones that they're deeming to be considered professional, okay? And only these 11 degrees that they're going to consider to be professional if this passed, okay? And this is all Trump's idea, okay? He wants to privatize where you have to get your loans through other companies, which are going to have very strict stipulations, and that's it. So, which means if you decide to go to school for all the other degrees that's on my other previous video, they're going to cap it at a certain amount to where you can only get that amount. And that's it, okay, for that year. And you have to pay the rest out of pocket. On that list was nursing degrees, all kinds of stuff, educators, social workers, everything that you need to make the world go round. They're not going to consider professional. But these 11 degrees are going to be the only degrees if this passes through. If this happens, if they let all of this take place, okay, these are going to be the only degrees. So the list of degrees that you see right here, these are the ones that they're deeming to be considered.
Okay, so
degrees, education that
stop. Hold on. So just to catch up on Jazzy's story, there was a Democrat who talked to Epstein while questioning Michael Cohen. Epstein was getting her to ask him questions. This was newly discovered, and they wanted her censured. But some Republicans voted not to. And in turn, some Democrats voted not to censure Corey Mills, a Republican who had... Oh, Jesus Christ. This is not a game. Like, this is insane, Jazzy. Like, this is just... We're just making harassment and pedophilia okay. And so... One of the things, too, so these degrees that they're talking about that are no longer going to be considered professionals include some of the following. Education, including master's degrees, which if you don't know teachers, most of them have to go for some sort of master's degree at some point. Nursing, these are all that are not going to be considered professional and harder to get degrees in. So education, nursing, social work, public health, physician assistant, occupational therapy, physical therapy, audiology, speech language pathology, business masters, engineering masters, counseling and therapy degrees, and many more non-doctoral fields. And you know what's something that is, now I noticed this, I think it was my husband that brought it up to me too when I talked with him about it. Something ironic about all of these degrees that you see here, they are mandatory reporters. If you don't know what a mandatory reporter is, if there is a child, I did not know that, Jazzy, wow, a degree in social work, good for you. That's a tough field, girl. Mandated reporters, if there's a child that presents any type of danger to themselves, others, or there's like danger in their family, you are required by law to report that. And most of, if not all of these that are listed are mandatory reporter degrees. And we're also just waiting on all this tiptoeing around all this Epstein bullshit. I don't find that a coincidence. Maybe I do. I don't know. Words are hard right now. But like, those are the ones that they're saying like, oh, these aren't professional. These aren't, and it's going to be tougher for you to get these degrees. And like, these are not easy to get. So now, here are the ones that are going to be considered professional. Osteopathic medicine, dentistry, which my dad was a dentist, so shout out to them. Pharmacy, veterinary medicine, those are all legit. You know, we need those. Optometry, eye doctors, yes. Chiropractors, it's not really useful. It's I know people that go to the chiropractor say it's good. It's not technically, I don't believe it's technically like some modern medicine stuff. Theology is a professional degree, but a nurse isn't. Give me a break. Write to your representatives, write to your senators. Like, come on, people. This is, but everything else is just not on this list of professionals. So nursing, social work, public health, therapy, business, master's, education, engineering, not on this list. Like, what the, they are trying to make us stupid and sick and basically kill us all. I'm not a conspiracy person, but like, guys, this is, it just keeps getting scarier and I hate it. Yeah, Dwight shows how I feel very well, because like, this is, well, and here's my other favorite clip that I love to do.
I just know before this is over, I'm gonna need a whole lot of serious therapy. Look at my eye twitching.
Hopefully my therapist will still be a therapist if all this shit passes, because I will lose my mind. Next on the docket, I'm sure y'all have heard about this fun one. 6 Democrats made a video for the military saying, do not obey illegal orders. Because duh. You took an oath to the Constitution, not this president. And here's Caroline KKK with her cross.
Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. The White House faced questions about President Donald Trump's social media posts saying Democratic lawmakers should face execution for telling members of the military to refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Trump reposted an article about a video released by 6 Democratic lawmakers with military or intelligence backgrounds and said in another post, quote, seditious behavior punishable by death.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
The lawmakers, including Senators Alyssa Slotkin and Mark Kelly, said the Trump administration was pitting the U.S. military and intelligence community against the American people and threatening tenets of the U.S. Constitution. They did not refer to any particular incident or scenario.
Hello, Gabe.
And did not
Welcome.
provide any examples of orders that they might consider illegal. After Trump's post, Slotkin wrote on X that she and her colleagues would continue to defend the Constitution. Trump's posts are the latest example of him calling for those he sees as political enemies to be punished. Since returning to the presidency in January, Trump has occasionally called for imprisoning adversaries, and his Justice Department has targeted critics such as former federal officials John Bolton and James Comey. In November 2021, Trump defended the chants of his supporters who called for hanging Vice President Mike Pence as they stormed the U.S. Capitol in a deadly riot on January 6th of that year. Top Democrats in Congress said Trump's words could incite violence and that they had contacted U.S. Capitol Police to ensure the Democratic lawmakers' safety. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called the situation unacceptable and un-American.
Disgusting and dangerous what Donald Trump has said.
Why are you
in accusing
voting with
patriotic
Republicans
members of
then, sir?
Congress and the Senate who served this country well of treason and suggesting they should be killed.
Numerous Republican senators on Thursday declined to comment on Trump's remarks.
Oh,
And
shocker.
Lindsey Graham of South Carolina called Trump's post, quote, over the top.
Guys, when he posts shit like, this is treason, execution, he is not kidding. And even if it's not him saying it, it's his cronies like Stephen Miller saying it. They are not kidding. Like, they want to eliminate the Democrats. And this is all, again, this is all just crazy projection of everything that, like, shit that he's doing. I cannot wait for the day that we have, like, Nuremberg style trials for all of this shit. And I hope that that day comes sooner rather than later. And I hope it is filmed like the OJ trial. Like, let's go. I want to see that shit happen. Because I am just, oh my God. I am just so, I'm so tired of this. It's so much news all the time. And I mean, I saw something and they were like, yeah, 2 weeks ago. I'm like, 2 weeks? 2 weeks ago? It felt like 6 months ago. Because there is just so much pouring in all the time. Like, and like, keeping up with this is exhausting too. And like, for a while, I was really going hard with just absorbing my news, trying to learn as much as I could. But even me, like, I'm at a point where I'm like, nope, this is my limit. Usually on weekends, I'll completely take off. But now, even during the day, I'm like, all right, I watched Don Lemon. Maybe I'll watch some iHip. But other than that, nope. I would literally rather watch Miss Rachel with my daughter for the upteenth, thousandth time than listen to this Cheeto head just talk about all of this stuff. Because it's all bullshit. And I've mentioned this before. Not only have I obviously lost faith in the Republicans, I have lost faith in the Democrats, and I have lost faith in these politicians who say they're for us when their actions speak so much louder than what they're really doing. And people, you guys, we gotta wake up. We have to wake up. And with Thanksgiving around the corner, if you've got relatives that are like, oh, Trump's not that bad of a guy, he's just messing around, he's just joking, in the nicest way possible, call that shit out. Bring the facts. Bring your resources of, like, actually, not really, because here's XYZ. And sometimes people will get all up in arms and be like, well, Kamala, the way she laughed, blah, blah, blah. But hopefully most of the time there will still be some respect of, like, I didn't really see it that way. But it's easy to get angry right now. It is, because it's easy for me. I'm glad I've learned how to self-regulate my emotions way better than I used to. But, like, take some steps back if you need to, because this is a lot. And as we talk about a lot on this show, let's go to our Trump tracker, because this is interesting. These are the total illegal actions that he has taken since he took office. We are now up to 1,826. And we've got more categories. Because as these numbers get higher, they just add more categories, because that's how bad this shit is, guys. We've got undermining democracy, hollowing the state, weakening federal institutions, suppressing dissent against enemies. Controlling information, including spreading misinformation and propaganda. Andrea, I also blame them. Anybody in DC, like, I blame. I don't think you were here earlier, but I talked about how like some of the only Congress people even that I trust are like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Eric Swalwell, Jamie Raskin, and that's all on one hand I can count. In the Senate, I trust Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. That's it. That's it at this point. Where was I? Control of science and health to align with state ideology is another category. Attacking universities, schools, museums, and culture. Because if you haven't noticed, the Smithsonians were closed for a while, and I think they're reopening because I'm pretty sure they like bleeped out some of the stuff in there. Weakening civil rights, corruption and enrichment, aggressive foreign policy, and then anti-immigrant or militarized nationalism. That's a new one, and that one's already going real hard. I don't think they're ever gonna. It's wishful thinking, but I don't think that they are ever going to actually lock him up because he's old. And at this point, like what they'll do is put Pawpaw in a like basically a jail retirement home, which is unfortunate because he deserves to suffer for how much he's made so many people suffer. And when I say so many people, I don't mean like 100. I mean like over 1 million people, including the people who passed from COVID due to his incompetence, the people that have died due to USAID, the people who have died due to the United States sending bombs. Like, fuck this and fuck him. I'm so sick of it. So to leave y'all tonight, I saw this video today and it really made me laugh. It is Jen Welsh at IHIP talking about, you know what? I'm just going to let it go for a bit.
Kankles, McTaco Tits, whom we refer to as Kanks, the blowjob giving old queen that blares Phantom of the Opera from the White House while he is in a spiral over his involvement with a man named Bubba. And now we all know, per Mark Epstein's communication with Jeffrey Epstein, that Vladimir Putin has this information. We also believe the Israeli government has this information. And, you know, he loves to talk about how good he is at taking tests. Like, I nailed my animal identification test. I even want to challenge AOC to take the same test. I was able to say giraffe, elephant, camel. And he wants to challenge AOC to do this. So he thinks he's so smart and he thinks he is laser focused on this animal identification test. But we here at iHip News, we're going to go ahead and give him a dementia test. And Kylie, our producer, looked up what are the 5 signs of dementia? Memory loss, language problems, confusion, difficulty with familiar tasks, and delusion of grandeur. So let's start with the top one, memory loss. Kylie, play the clip.
I think you should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Johnson. Does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor. How good? At least stepping at you. You know, we've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great.
I mean, he's stayed the same 3 times.
Jimmy Connors is good. He's also happy. Mike Bolton, John Bolton is here. Mike Bolton, as you know, is in Russia.
There was progress today. I look forward to solving it.
Thank you, Steve.
It was Trump's fault. It's always Trump's fault. Can it ever be like Rick Gates' fault? I mean,
that's funny.
It's always Trump's fault, Rick.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley. Did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything? Deleted and destroyed all of it. All of it. Because of lots of things like Nikki Haley.
I love how it just gets bigger.
So that, you know, that just is an all day, everyday occurrence with this man, getting the people that are closest to him, the biggest layups, getting it all wrong because he is in full blown dementia. And there is a mass cover up by the media, by the Supreme Court, by all of the dipshits that surround him. Fox News is the worst the worst at covering up for this, because we know they were on dementia watch out the wazoo with Joe Biden. Actually, they're still on. They're still on that watch, because the more and more dripping that comes out of these Epstein files, and the more cankles deep Kank is in it, and the more we find out about his homosexual activities with Bubba, the more they go back to talking about Biden's dementia. So we know, Jesse, we know, Greg, we know that you guys can do it. But I think maybe they're a little bit too scared to start talking about blowjobs out of fear that they themselves might get excited. All right, moving along. Here we have a second.
I love her. I love her so much. I would kill to meet her or interview her. But they always, whenever, even when it's been a lot, if I need good comedy, I will watch those two, because they are just on point and funny, and just like, that's where I got the pawpaw from, was from those two, because it's just, you have to laugh, guys, or you're gonna cry, because it's just, it's a lot. And guys, we have to find a balance if it gets to be too much. You can't completely ignore it, because those of us who, you know, are watching this now, and those of us who do channels like this, and those of us who do our research and stuff, we all need breaks. And whether those breaks include, you know, something like, even if it's going to work, or spending time with your family, or spending time with your friends, and you have to find a balance, because your sanity also depends on it, because this has almost been a year of this fuckery. And I truly can't believe it got this far and came to this. I never thought that it would go past like 9 months. I never thought. And it's frustrating. And it's scary. And it's bullshit. But I hope that people like us, like those of us watching and stuff, I hope that we can get, once we get out of this, I hope that people like us can come together to build the country that we want. And the country that we want, not just for us, but for our kids and for our grandkids. And create something that we're proud of. Because I personally don't know anybody who's proud of what's going on right now. And I think, too, the rest of the world is finally starting to realize that. Like we are not, the people of this country are not this administration. And even if you see people going like full MAGA online, most of them are probably not real. I will say it again, louder for those in the back. There are more of us than there are of them. Find a way to get your voice heard, whether it's doing channels like this, or even just chatting with us in the chat, going to protests, calling people. You have to do something. I know it's a lot. I know it's not easy. But we all have to stick together to make this the country that we want for ourselves, our kids, our grandkids, all of that. So, sorry I haven't done a Katie's Corner in a while. Again, rent has been crazy. I've got less than 4 weeks, I think, left in it. And then once that happens, once that's done, we're through the holidays, stuff will get easier. So, make sure to support May when she does stuff on, you know, the Millennial Gaze on this channel by herself. And then she's really active on Instagram, you guys. So really go on there for our millennial gangsters, because it's all a lot. But thank you guys for tuning in. I am glad that we had some people watching and coming in and out. And we love and appreciate y'all. And take care of yourselves. And you are not alone in this. It may feel like you can be sometimes, but you're not alone.
All I said was there's evil afoot.
Evil!